So here we are in the corner of the kitchen. This is no longer sick bay because no one's actually sick. This is quarantine birds. Now these are, as I was saying, for somebody starting out in the hobby, I've discovered something. It's real. If a breeder is willing to sell you a youngster, that's he's offloading it because he doesn't think it's good quality. So how do you ever get good breeding stock? One of the things I discovered is after a year or two or three, they will retire birds that they felt were good enough to keep for breeding stock. And that's what these guys are. Every single one of these birds had an infertile clutch, and he was done in retiring them. They are, the youngest one is 3, the oldest one is 5, I think. So I got them here. They were drastically underweight. Not a single one of them weighed out of the 40-gram category. Their breast bones were blades. They quivered from a lack of calcium. I suspect they aren't sick. There's nothing sick about them. They have normal feces. Nobody's going poo. And now that I'm feeding them, they are putting on weight. So I think in this particular case, what I ended up with was a breeder that's gone bananas on the supplement thing. And he gave them so many supplements that he was actually making him sick with them over a long period. So as I said, these are older birds. So, but the update is every single one of them is gaining weight. Mr. Blue was the biggest one to start with, and he has gained the least amount, and still looks kind of hunched and unhappy, but he's also an extremely feathery bird, and he's doing a molt. So I've given them doses of calcium every once in a while, so they've all stopped quivering. And they're starting to do a molt, which is another sign that they were stalled out. One of the signs that a bird has something going wrong with it is when their feathers are all screwed up. If you can look at these guys' tails, they weren't preening their tails. Their tails feathers were all screwed up, as well as some of their wing feathers and such. And now that they're getting food, and whatever it was he was giving them is flushing out of their system, they're going directly into a molt and starting to take care of their feathers. So the hope is that none of these birds are huge. The little lace-wing female here is tiny. She weighed 42 grams when I brought her in. She's up to 45 grams. But she has that rare mutation, and I have I fancy the idea of breeding her to Haverty, my great big boy from Sparky and Kelly, to put some size on that, because she actually has a really nice feather. All of these birds have fabulous feather, beautiful masks. The males are not huge either. I think when they're in good feather, when they're in good health, the blue one may get up to 60 grams. The green one, now, to give you an idea of how skinny they were when I got them, the green one weighed 44 grams. He's up to 51 now. But he's still lean, so they may get up to 60 grams, which is, you know, respectable. And you never know what they're going to throw. You know, they're just in here eating, getting their systems flushed out, getting a quarter of a dose of calcium once a week to slowly build up their calcium levels, let them finish their molt, and just rest up, and I'll put them out in the spring. Yes, Sue. I hear you. Yes, you're so handsome. Down here is the fourth one that I got, and the one that I drove all the way out there to get in the first place. This guy, I call him Scruffy because he looked just terrible, like all the rest of them. He weighed 44 grams. He's up to 50 even now. He's not a huge bird, but he will weigh at least 55, 58 grams, something like that, by the time he's done. And I've got him in here with Luscious because that's who I'm going to breed him to. Luscious here had a heck of a time getting her over the diarrhea, treating her for this, that, and the other thing. She was the third bird that came with baby girl that died of coccidiosis. I finally got her cleared up, but she seems to have kind of a permanent tremble going, which might be because she had so many meds that She got some neurological damage, but that's not going to stop her from breeding, and it may go away yet. It's periodic, and every time I see it, I dose her with some calcium in the water. I've learned to use only a quarter dose of that stuff, and it tames it. So I'm not going to give these two, they're bonding, and now that the cockatiels over here have a breeding box, they're starting to make noises like breeding, but they're not going to get a breeding box for probably at least another month, because I'm looking for all of these birds to stabilize, because they were so depleted. I just really want to see some vitality out of them, rather than, you know, trembling terribleness. So, but these two are destined to be together, and I'll probably breed them late spring. That blue boy up there, if he makes a recovery and looks lively, I'm going to pair him with Cloud. And the green guy, I don't know what I'm going to do with him. But they have wonderful feather. They're not huge birds, but they have wonderful feather, beautiful mass, definitely show quality. So I'm glad to have them, and I have big birds that could use a little more of that kind of feather. So I'm sure I can find mates for them. So that's sick bay, or I should say quarantine. So they're probably in here for another 8 weeks at least. All right.